Good morning, video morning brief for the U.S. grain markets Friday, March 28, 9:15 a.m. Eastern Time. Still have to be concerned over USDA data coming. We have to be concerned of more tariffs next week. We have to be concerned what will be going along the way into those tariffs. Far as global relations, we know that China's just going to buy more from South America, all they can, stay away from the U.S. as possible. Trend is apparently down. Now, this chart looks a little funky this morning. It rolled to the July. Probably should not have done that, and I wonder if that won't self-correct. It was of May yesterday, okay? So I'm not getting, the model's kind of rejecting this, and it's looking at the individual contracts. I just happen to display it as a continuous. Any rate, there's a good chance this market is not bottoming till Monday, and it may not even bottom till the end of next week for this level 3 downtrend. So this is still in a level 3 downtrend, and yet it is oversold and trying to work on a buy signal here. But again, that could be influenced by today's little crazy action there. But it is a setup telling us the downside ought to be kind of limited. They may have pulled this back enough that even if they don't like the data coming out of USDA on Monday, that they're just going to say, good enough. Okay, we've already dialed it in. What else is there? And they might just look friendly. It does appear on the cash side they do need to buy some corn, soybeans, wheat. And it does look like on the fund side and retail investor speculator side, they can be about ready to do that as well. Okay. But other than that, the level 3 trend is down, and in theory, it's probably going to be lower on Monday to later next week, but it's also should be rather limited how much they beat it up. Now, if this whole tariff thing blows up on us and the inflation report come out this morning, PCE inflation that the Federal Reserve watches more than the CPI inflation that is watched more by the public, okay? The PCE came in at 2.8% core inflation annualized. That was higher than expected. Stock market immediately sold off. The jobs were 0.8% up, and they thought that was a little too rich too, maybe. So that may be some issues there. I don't think really that matters to the grains right now. It's really the USDA data is what matters to the grains. The weather doesn't really matter. The import-export doesn't really matter. But the tariffs matter, because that, I know people want to paint it as an inflationary thing and therefore can be inflation for commodities. But if you look at what's going on in the grains, they have not been buying grains for inflation. I think they know that the inflation is probably going to be at the store and along the pipeline, the middleman, and does not have to be at the producer side and does not have to be in many of the commodity prices. Now, in the news is copper. It's now spreading all over the world at a very fast pace. Everybody's shocked about copper, and they are blaming it on tariffs, inflation, and stuff like that, all right? But that's kind of like an isolated thing. And you look at Bitcoin, and a couple of years ago, they got excited that Bitcoin could be used for hedging for inflation. Now everybody's given up on that idea. In fact, there's research out there that Bitcoin crypto really is more likely a bet on technology stocks than it is anything else, okay? And gold's screaming higher, but they're maybe buying some of that for an inflation bet just to be careful, but they're really also buying it for many other reasons. And one of the big ones is central banks continue to buy a lot of gold. Our central bank apparently is still buying a lot of gold, but they're also buying it because they're just worried of just things blowing up with Trump. We might have a crashing economy. We might have super high inflation. We might have low inflation. We might have just bad economy, no matter where inflation goes. Just a lot of crazy things, and they just don't want to let up. And Wall Street is calculating higher and higher new, fresh upside targets in gold. But it doesn't appear to have anything to do with the grains. Dollar index trying to pick its head up. Doesn't appear to have anything to do with the grains. Okay. All right. So with the grain market, I would hold out for some lower prices next week as well. But I also think by late next week, we'll see the market up. And it could, in theory, bottom today, but I prefer it bottom Monday, Tuesday, and then be up later next week. For the corn market, I think it's low enough. I think it's oversold and cheap enough. And I think, especially on the cash side, somebody is getting about ready where they need to at least buy that monthly increment and they may even want to start building something going into summer. And as I look at some of this weather and dryness in the U.S., we can have a crop problem, but then I look at other wild, crazy things going on, and it may wait to 2026, 27. And if it only is a minor crop problem, unfortunately, all this tariff Trump and burning down Washington, D.C. very well could actually hurt commodity prices when otherwise we would expect them to go up. So things can go wrong for both bulls and bears this year, including myself and my model. All right, at any rate, although I'm optimistic of still getting a bounce by summer in grains. All right, let's look at the soybean market. Okay, let's see what this is on. This is still off the May, so it hasn't rolled. Again, I think there was something flaky there on the corn. But at any rate, blasted through the 5-day average here ahead of USDA data. Somebody's getting kind of excited that maybe we'll see some of those weird statistics that things are the other way. But it was also having to do with trade, global trade, a little South America stuff, but really just short covering. I think they overdid it already, but I think there's a chance the market can be higher some of next week. I'm not saying they won't knock it down because of the USDA data on Monday, maybe into Tuesday, but they could still put it right back up. I don't think they're going to get anything significantly bearish. I don't know. It's very difficult to forecast planting intentions reports and even quarterly stocks. I learned decades ago you're better off watching everybody else see what they think, because it's a good way to make a fool out of yourself. You're better off just waiting to see how the market handles it. All right. And it's actually meaningless information when you go further out in time, that it's really just a day trader's, interweek trader's shocking moment, perhaps. And then it really is meaningless looking out weeks and a few months. It is important updating, however, of long-term supply and demand, USDA textbook type stuff. All right. At any rate, I say beans are up and then they're going to be down. And I don't see anything exciting going on, but I think I better make an alert here for a level 2 bottom. And let's double check on a weekly for this one. To me, this is getting late enough for a level 2 bottom when that's not necessarily the case for corn and wheat. And now you might think, well, then must be beans are going to be more bullish now than corn and wheat, but eventually corn and wheat jump on board and then the beans could be even more bullish. Not necessarily so. It may not rally all that well and for not all that long, but it looks like it can rally from this week into next. So I'm giving you an alert, but this may be foolish to give you an alert like this just before a major USDA data event. This could be dumb, all right? I'm just going to flat out say it. It could be dumb. But I could see where we've seen the bottom. Now, it may be that you're thinking, well, it's already bounced well enough out of the bottom. Would I really want to buy it now? That's where you have to figure out your own, what you need to do to manage risk. How desperately do you need to buy beans? I don't know if it's that desperate to buy beans. It still may be better to miss out of some, okay, to see what happens Monday, Tuesday. But I do think as we look out to the week of April 14th on into the week of May 12th, beans will be up. And you know what? That's actually a target for a level 2 sell signal in the stock market. And the stock market ought to be up very soon, if it's not already started up, to go into that target. That is a bit odd, and yet it's not. I've seen some of those odd moments of soybeans actually in line with the same business cycle timing as the stock market. And there are hedge funds that include soybeans as a very small commodity portion of their very large financial market positions. All right. I'm not saying they're the ones controlling this. Most of the time they're not, but in very brief moments, there are times that's primarily just them. All right. Any rate, I do think beans deserve to go higher, up to 1040 or higher when I look out to that time frame. What I don't know is it truly ready to go now? And I'm just going to be brave and perhaps stupid and go for it because the model is saying, yeah, it can be here. You can do this. This is not the type of alert I want from the model, but it's close enough. I'm saying model alert and I'm saying Rich Paulson alert until it takes out the low of this week at 997.5. I think the beans ought to go higher. Working against me is this 5-week average. It could easily bump its head on and just go down, down, down on me. But it would be odd, it'd be weird to be going down this late. That wouldn't be a sign I want to give up for finding a bottom, but it is a little warning that maybe things aren't hunky-dory here. I think what's really going to do is they're going to bounce it up a bit for level 2, pull it back lower still for level 1. So what this means is you really ought to be a rather quick hit, nimble trader, just take bits and pieces out of this. There's probably no reason to load up for a level 2 up move. There's probably no reason to load up for a summer rally yet. But then again, maybe things develop and it goes higher than we think for level 2, doesn't pull back as much as we think for level 1, and it really is just going higher into summer. There'll be a level 1 going in summer, and there's a good chance it'll be higher. But right at the moment, we have an issue here, and things could really be sideways to down on us too. And some of this is this conflict of all the Trump, MAGA, Washington, D.C. tariff stuff, the slowing of the U.S. recession, when the rest of the world's trying to get going. So you just get a lot of conflicting information here. But if you throw all of that out and look at just the soybeans themselves, I will say we have all the beans we need. At the same time, people are eating, the demand is there. It's not necessary to really hammer these bean prices even with the Brazil harvest. I think it can do better than this, all right? Now, the weekly is moving over towards a sell signal here, but it's also up from a buy signal. It's up a little bit from oversold. This could be no more than a hesitation before working higher with this indicator as it works higher. Yes, I'm bullish into late April into early May, and I'm bullish here from this week. I got to warn you, I could be wrong on that. And we can get conflicting information from level 4s and level 3 trends, all right? Whereas the corn market, I'm unwilling to really get that excited. Maybe I better do the weekly of it, even though I did it yesterday. It may well bottom here, all right, for a level 2 and get on board with the soybean market. And frankly, even though the news is old, everybody's dialed in all the bullish news, I think there's still a lingering bullishness to the balance sheet, but we'll have to see what the USDA data says. But I probably should call level 2 bottom now, but I'd rather make sure I got that level 3. I will wait till next week. I got to warn you, it may bottom today for level 3, and it may bottom for a level 2. It doesn't have to bottom to level 2 for 2 weeks from now, whereas the soybeans ought to really bottom now, okay? And they can move up into the week of April 21st to May 12th. A little bit different timing, but something similar to the soybeans. Now, unfortunately for the corn, I'm nervous that it went below the level 1 bottom. What we're going to get is like maybe a nice knee-jerk reaction higher in the level 2, right back down again. It may be the soybeans hold up better during planting season into early growing season than the corn market actually. And is that a sign of, USDA is going to show more corn than they think? Okay, I don't know. We'll see the data on Monday. Obviously, it's probably safer to just wait to see what happens Monday. But there's some interesting opportunities where corn might even be buy right now. But I guess I'm going to wait to next week to give you that alert off a level 3. But I am, if I got a level 3 alert, the model's going to give a level 2 alert. And I'm going to give a level 2 alert, okay? So this is about a buy as well. It's oversold here. It's trying to make up its mind. Is a buy signal or not? And it's got to deal with the USDA data. It's low enough price for me, and it's testing this that they slammed it down too hard on Trump. They slammed it back up too fast. And now these candles are really telling us the real supply and demand. This is the panic stuff, the emotion stuff, the irrational stuff. All right, wheat market. What have I got here? Oh, this is the weekly chart, but we'll go with that first. Just imploding, crashing, terrible, horrible here, okay? And yet we're still looking for a level 2 bottom. All right, for some reason my mouse is not working there, and I will just forget it, okay? At any rate, it doesn't have to bottom for a few more weeks here, and this is way too low. They're taking out the level 1 bottom. This probably means it's going lower into harvest into May. Okay, maybe even early June. However, guess what? It ought to have a level 2 bounce along the way. It's still getting low priced. In my opinion here, we may be learning, Russia's crop isn't bad as they thought. There's going to be some other issues going on here. They may be more nervous of the economy hurting wheat demand and tariffs and this and that than they are, say, for corn demand and even soybean demand. And that kind of makes sense. All right. Any rate, I think we're getting close to a rebound. Now, we're later than we should be for level 3. The model is now all in a tizzy here saying, well, this is the latest allowed when looking at just weekly data, monthly, yearly data. But when we look at daily data, intraday data, it's really too late. Something's wrong here. If it's up, if it's not any lower on Monday, then and it just starts moving up, I won't be surprised, but I think it's only moving up some into a level 3 top, bump its head right down again. So I don't see any hope here for a while for the bulls in the wheat market. If it is lower on Monday, the model will probably move, call level 3 top right there, or bottom, say it failed, and then it's going to project late next week for a level 3 bottom. The level 3 top would probably be just a little head fake, a little pop, 1 or 2 days. That could actually be for a better setup for a following level 3 where it might be up for 5 to 12 trading days, that it is some kind of washing out here. But for the moment, we're now in trend following. We can't time it. We can't keep up with it. It's not working the way we want. They're panicking too much. They're irrational and don't dare step in the way of them, of trying to find a bottom. So we're just trend following until they put it up quite a bit and for a fair amount of time so that we can then start over and retime the level 3s. We're just trend followers and say, might as well assume it's down, 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 maybe forever. 5-day average is nearby resistance. It can bump its head on it. However, technical stuff is saying it is oversold. They've overdone it. This is a bit nuts, crazy. I'm just concerned, even if they bounce it some next week, it's going down over the next week or two. Wheat can totally split away from corn and soybeans, so it doesn't have to be a negative factor for our soybean, wheat, or corn forecast. But right at the moment, wheat is in la land, and I'm just a trend follower. I'm not going to gamble on trying to pick these level 3s. Right now, we'll do it in hindsight. Past results are not necessarily indicative of future results. Have a great week. Thank you.